Now this is a complete different cup of tea. Revelations is a thoroughbred like Naj. Completely different conformation and completely different breeding of the thoroughbred breed. She definitely is quick twitch and she does have a long twitch muscle as well. Long muscle, short muscle. This family of thoroughbreds, and I noticed it in the Danzigs and there's families of them, just have the archetype, if you will, of presence conformationally in their physics and in their brain. Very, very sharp. These are the horses that probably to the proverbial sport horse person, especially the new age sport horse person, that they did not like. They love the athleticism, but they don't love the quick reaction. Thoroughbreds basically were bred mind over matter and reaction, not, the warm bloods were processing the thought, etc. Anyway, I bring her out here. It's slightly muddy. She wants to do caprioles through the sky and have a blast. And this will show you if how important it is to reach that lower back, because through the lower back in this session, and I did it in slow motion so that you can capture her athleticism, but also the physics coming off the haunches always, whether she's reining back, whether she's going through the air, everything. So right now I want to reach and relax her in all the muscles without going over lots of ground. Thus I have a racehorse for the racehorse racing, and not a vet call from her injuring herself. So if you see these rock and roll pirouette or levades as I go along here, they're all coming from the physics that an upper level horse would do on command. I, especially over the last 20 odd years, when I started doing the thoroughbreds, I took off everything, but what I kept were the basics, 101 of dressage. And then I let the format that the horse was given, I never interfered with it. So that was a nice balatade. And instead, if you see her approach in her physics, she's always coming off those haunches. And I'm always keeping those haunches straight. Now, she's quite educated because she's been long reining for nearly a year on and off. So basically, these movements are not going to put a curb on her hock or injure her. She has the vocabulary there in the library of muscles. And her stamina, of course, is what I want to reach. So I want to do a la chakra thing up the spine, and then it will you'll see in this podcast how it hits her brain. So the industrial rider trainer will go out on the track and go through a half a mile or a mile or 2 days of a horse, zinging around and wasting a lot of molecules over the track, but not reaching that brain. This lets me reach the brain really fast. I don't suggest anybody just starting out on long reining to ever do this, because basically I can reach those inside muscles way deep, but I also have to know when to stop. And if you don't know when to stop, and you stop before the horse is tired, because by the time the horse is tired and it hits their brain, it's too late. You can damage something. You can put a curb on them. You can do all sorts of lovely things. Also, you have to be quite good on the long reins so as to give and take, so that the legs don't interfere with each other. They don't come up behind and hit themselves on their suspensory and stuff. As you can see here, I'm using the wall, so I'm not giving her claustrophobia. Thoroughbreds do not like claustrophobia. They weren't bred to think that way. And so when you put stuff on their face or hold them up with side reins or anything, they're just going to fight it. And they were bred to run, not, so the best way to get to a thoroughbred's mind like this, especially she's young, Naja's older, so she is establishing her focus yet. She hasn't gone to her first race. But by doing this muddy day in the round pen, I'm also teaching her self-discipline. So she has to package all this one day when she's fit in a couple months. So when we go, hopefully, to Louisiana to do our first start, she puts it into the race. Going to the post and everything, she'll be completely relaxed. I know because I did her mother. Anyway, these exercises, she's volunteering. I'm only stipulating that she keep her haunches square. I open a window, whether it be outside rain, inside rain, to suggest to her she can go forward. And because she feels so good and she has an extremely athletic body, she's volunteering much more difficult movements than if she just did a normal trot or canter forward. Am I going to argue with it? No, because if I could put all these elements on a math equation for a lay person on a computer, you would see that she's doing everything properly from a physics point of view. She's not resisting, as people would say. She's using her depth of character in her muscling, in her breathing. And she's actually working herself far greater than if she was just trotting or cantering forward or even doing two-track. Because as you can see, these are elements of Hoite-Cole she's doing, not Grand Prix dressage. And but the exercises of dressage going up to Grand Prix were put together to be able to do these Hoite-Cole movements. Even though I'm not asking her like at the Spanish riding school or anything on demand, she's volunteering these movements. Now you can see her going soft, and I'm still using the wall because I can feel when her body starts tickling her and her mind goes, oh, I'm brilliant. But you won't see me inhibit her movement forward. Even if and when she reins back, she drops her haunches and she's coming off the hind end with her rein back. Again, that's a movement much more difficult than a trot forward. So for those of you out there that have really athletic horses, don't look at it in the matrix of idealisms. Just make sure that they're coming from behind, that your reins are equal on both sides so that your haunches are square and not one hip dropped or one shoulder dropped. I'm having her really step deeply under with that right hind because she really wants to do all her magic moments off that left hind. But as I'm doing this, I'm putting her right hind underneath her, so she not only has to reach further under her body, but she has to step off more with her right hind and push off her body, just like in other two-track stuff. Now I'm behind her, and I'm doing an a la I'll do a shoulder out, but then I'll also do a haunches in. She can do elements of this, not like you would find would want to see in a dressage test, but the physics of it and the character of those physics and motor mechanics are there. So from my foundation I've laid for the last 10 months, she knows when I behind her and I press forward with my inside hand, that's the leading rein. She might only do it. See, she's doing it right there. Now she's looking forward and bending a little bit through the left side of her rib. And she's has a little weight into my left hand, much like haunches in. This is a posture that is going to relax her muscle structure. And then once I relax those muscles over the top line, about 1/3 to a half of her vertebrae, then her brain gets softer and softer and softer. And again, not to be repetitive, I haven't gone around in a circle either on the racetrack or in the field until she's physically tired. This kind of horse doesn't get physically tired. Some thoroughbreds will, some thoroughbreds won't. But due to their breeding, they're not supposed to get physically tired because they're mind over matter. And I know for those of you out there, take the grain away and then they'll get quiet. I know horses like this that people have done that with, and they even get more crazy because you've taken their food away, and now they're fighting in a sense of survival, and their whole metabolism speeds up even faster. I know I had a really nice, well decorated mare that we had since she was born, and then my daughter lost one of her horses, so she went with her to Wellington, and a really nice guy put her on the shed row, and my daughter's going, my mom gives that mare 12 quarts of grain a day. Well, this is a mature thoroughbred, not unlike Naj, only more mature than Naj, and she knew how to retain all that. The guy almost gagged because he was of the ilk, if you give protein to thoroughbreds, they go cuckoo. Well, perhaps they do if they're not focused and they haven't been trained up to that. But as you build a horse further along, just like she has another 60 days till our hopeful first start, then they understand where to put all this energy. It's called class. On the racetrack, they call it class. But some horses have more of it than others. So they're all different, just like people. Now you can see she's getting softer and softer. I'm still doing an a la shoulder out and haunches in. And I might take a step or two shoulder out and a step and a half or two there. I'm doing a little bit of haunches in. You can see how I rearranged her neck to lead and put weight into my left hand. This is established a long time ago when I'm on the long reins and they're outside, and you probably see me many times like pulling their nose forward and my hand is up in the air. They eventually look for that, and then they come up to it and lean on it. If you were to talk to really good upper level Grand Prix riders, and there aren't that many of them anyway, but on the double bridle, when you go up into a passage, the horse will lean up against the curb bit to brace themselves to sustain their forelegs. Well, going into the two-track movement, as you put the infrastructure, your ABCs, and the horse looks for the bit, that means they're getting a mouth. They know what the bit is there. It's not stop, go, right and left. They look for the bit, same as a thoroughbred racehorse. Many years ago, I used to help people take them from the racetrack to the sport horse or fox hunting or whatever they were going to do with them. And I would call out to the rider, let go of the reins. And of course, they thought you were nuts. But when you pull a salty racehorse in the mouth, you're asking them to go faster.